So very good evening and namaste. Good morning to people joining from Canada and US. This is the fourth session for Jnana Vaividya 2.0 as we call it, the second session of Jnana Vaividya, which is a vocational diversity speaker series running over 8 weeks. My name is Manoj Kabre. I am president of Rotary Bangalore Whitefield Central. We have 8 guest clubs today, 10 guest clubs, I'm sorry, and we have a speaker talk on healthier diets in pandemic times. So special welcome to Dr. Achyutan Ishwar.
Thank you so much for having me here, Manoj.
Yeah.
Lovely to be here.
And a special welcome to our chief guest, Dr. Rupa Haryani, Rotarian Dr. Rupa Haryani. And I welcome all the Rotarians all across the country, as well as out of country, and a lot of friends of Rotary who have joined today for this very special session, which is so akin to the times that we are all going through. I think in today's times, we need this kind of support, which Dr. Achyutan is going to talk about. I'll just give a brief overview of what we do at the Vocational Diversity vertical at Rotary District 3190. And then we'll hand it over to Smita, Rotarian Smita, to introduce today's speaker. So Rotary District 3190 has a vocational service avenue headed by Dr. P.M. Radhakrishna. And under this particular avenue, we serve the community. We call ourselves people of action. And these are some of the areas which you see on the screen under which the vocational service avenue works: integrity and ethics, career guidance and counseling, skill development, entrepreneurship and micro enterprises, vocational training teams, Rotary action groups, vocational diversity and awards. So this is an avenue which helps Rotarians for business development as well as professional advancement. And through Rotarians who are people of action, we are able to reach out to the masses and make a difference so as to have an overall growth for individuals. So you are all welcome to continue to associate with this Jnana Vaividya. We have a YouTube channel by this name. So you would be able to also access all the past sessions. We have done till now about 15 sessions over the last 8 months. These are interesting sessions on diverse topics, which will definitely be interesting for all of you to log in and gain knowledge. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So a brief introduction about Dr. Achyutan. He's probably one of the youngest doctors to actually, take this message forward, where he's saying that, his ultimate goal is he should not be required. So he wants to heal without medicine. So in his quest to learn how to heal without medicine, Dr. Achyutan explored different streams of medicines before choosing to study BNYS at India's leading college of naturopathy and yoga. Dr. Ishwar, he decided to dedicate his life to empowering people to be your own using the latest evidence-based nutrition and lifestyle medicines. He co-founded PhD Lifestyle Clinic and Nutrition Science.in, where he has reached about 20,000 odd people, and he people how they can be their own medicines, how they can just heal with the kind of food they consume. And then, many people started saying that we don't have that kind of time to actually make that kind of food. So then he founded sampurnaahara.com, wherein he has a team that prepares these whole food, plant-based diets, meals. He supplies across Bangalore. So far, when pandemic hasn't been able to stop him, stop the delivery going, they've delivered around 40,000 odd and products to homes and offices. Delicious meals. We include things like pakora, and sambar, rice, North Indian, Indian, beyond Indian as well. So, welcome, Akshit. I'm looking forward to listening from you yet again, and help us understand how we can be our own doc.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, Smita, and thank you for making this happen, Mr. Manoj and Dr. Rupa and everyone who has come here to attend the session.
Yeah. Just
And
1 minute.
really
1 minute before you start, Dr. Achyutan, I would like to specially recognize PDG Rajendra Rai, PDG Mahanandi Suresh, and IPDG Samir Haryani, some of our senior members from Rotary who have specially come here, and also PDG from 3182 who would also be joining any moment. Thank you.
wonderful, wonderful. Thank you all so much for making it. I really hope that what we share and discuss during the session today helps you, your families, and so many other clubs that, the other Rotary clubs that you're a part of to live longer, healthier lives, especially in light of the current pandemic. Let me begin with my personal journey. I've wanted to be a doctor and heal without medicine since the time I was 12 years old. But I realized what that meant when my grandparents successfully reversed diabetes and hypertension in just 10 days' time using a healthier diet and lifestyle. They did this in 2014 when my grandfather one day suddenly started vomiting blood. My mother called me. I was doing my internship to become a doctor, and we rushed him to the hospital. He was diagnosed with internal bleeding in the stomach, a side effect of a medication that he'd been taking for his hypertension. And the doctors tried everything that they could, but the blood vomiting simply did not stop. Went on for 3 weeks. At the end of that, my grandfather said, I want a permanent solution. So we sent him and my grandmother to a Nature Cure hospital, the Pavitra Nature and Yoga Hospital in Coimbatore, where under the guidance of Dr. Subramaniam and Dr. Pavitra, they adopted a healthier diet. They started practicing yoga every day. In just 10 days' time, they managed to reverse both diabetes and hypertension. They managed to reduce 10 kgs of weight each. They cut down their medications by 90%. They came back home glowing, completely transformed. And I decided to make it my life's mission to help so many more people to achieve the very same, the health goals and live a longer, healthier life through simple, everyday changes that we can make at home. From there, I became a lifestyle physician who founded nutritionscience.in, which is India's first plant-based nutrition learning platform, and subsequently sampurnahara.com, which is India's first whole food plant-based social enterprise. I'll be talking a little about this, and I'll also be focusing today on the COVID-19 pandemic and what each one of us and our families, each one of you can do to protect yourself and to protect your families and from the infection, from severe forms of the infection, and to stay healthier during these troubling times. So there are 3 things that I'd like to cover in today's talk. One is about the COVID-19 infection itself, and what can you do to prepare yourself for it by building your immunity. The second is the comorbidities, which actually put us at risk of developing a severe infection, ICU admissions, and fatalities. The third is supplementation. We see people, some of them even going slightly overboard, going for various forms of supplements, especially when they're diagnosed with COVID-19. I'd like to focus on this during the second half of my, during my talk as well. So COVID-19 is a coronavirus that causes the infection, and we're all familiar with it for the last more than a year now. And if you look at the history of coronaviruses in the world, you'd find that even the earlier coronavirus pandemic, SARS and MERS pandemics, for example, that some of you may have been very familiar with, have all been caused by viruses that have come from wet animal markets, from live animal markets. In fact, not just coronavirus and COVID-19, but pretty much all human viruses have come to us from animals. I'd like to highlight a little more about this during the, as we go on to see why this is so important. Let's talk about, what we need to be aware of and what we need to take care of before we develop the COVID-19 infection, before we catch the infection. Now, most people who contract COVID-19 are successfully able to escape any severe repercussions of it. They fall sick for a few days, they get a fever, they get a cough, they get body pain, get tiredness, and then the fever goes away, they have a loss of smell and taste, and within a month's time, they are back to normal. But a small percentage of people get severely affected by the disease. From the research that has been conducted for the last 1 year, we've come to realize that people with comorbidities, a term that has become very common today, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and obesity are at the highest risk of developing severe COVID-19 infections, which means that if you don't have any of these diseases, it makes sense to prevent them from coming. If you do have any of these diseases, it makes sense to try and reverse them as far as possible before, in case you're infected with COVID-19 before the infection itself. For example, people who are overweight seem to have a 2 to 4 to sometimes 8 times more risk of getting admitted in the ICU. People who have hypertension have double the risk. People who have heart disease have 6 times the risk. People who have both hypertension and heart disease have even more, amount of risk of developing severe forms of the infection that require the ICU admission in the first place. So what do we do if we already have these diseases, or if we, have not developed any of them yet? How do we protect ourselves and our families? Let's first understand what causes these diseases, because once we know that, then it becomes a lot easier to figure out how to prevent them in the first place and how to reverse them if we already have them. So I'd like to take you all through a journey into the body and to understand what causes diabetes, what causes hypertension, what causes heart disease and obesity. I'm going to break down the medical science into simple visualizations that we're all able to understand. So if any of you get any questions, any doubts, please feel free to jot it down, and we'll have a Q&A at the end of the session. I'll be happy to explain in more detail that. So let's start with diabetes, right? Now, diabetes, India is the capital world, for diabetes. We have more number of diabetics than any other country. We've been on a neck-to-neck race with China, and it's not something that we're proud of. It is a disease that is caused due to something called insulin resistance. I'll quickly explain what this means. Every time we eat food, the food gets digested by the stomach, it gets absorbed into the blood, and it goes to all the cells of the body. Each cell absorbs glucose, but here's the catch, right? The cells need glucose to survive, to create their own energy, but they cannot absorb glucose by themselves, and that's the problem. They need insulin in order to absorb glucose. So insulin effectively acts like a key which opens the door of the cell, allows glucose inside. It's like you are in a huge apartment complex. You're trying to go into your home, but you need a key to open the door and enter, right? Now imagine if someone has stuck chewing gum in the lock of your door, right? I hope none of you have had this experience, but it's really difficult to remove. You'll have to get it all off before you get that lock to work. The same thing happens in our body when the muscle cells get jammed up with small droplets of fat. Now, we doctors don't like keeping anything simple, so we decided to call this intramyocellular lipid accumulation. But it simply means that there's a small drop of fat inside the muscle cells, jamming up the glucose doors, not allowing insulin to open the door, so our cells are not able to absorb glucose from the blood. All the glucose is sitting right there in the blood, causing a high blood sugar. That's called diabetes. Hypertension is caused by a similar problem that happens in the arteries of the body. So what happens when the glucose gets absorbed? There is a small powerhouse of the cell called the mitochondria, which you all know about, right? Learned it way back in school, where the glucose is taken and burnt to create energy. The problem is when this burning happens, it also releases a lot of sparks and smoke called free radicals. This is a term you may be familiar with. These free radicals are extremely dangerous molecules. They start damaging everything around them, and they kind of act like zombie molecules, if you will. One free radical can turn the next molecule into another free radical, and it spreads like a chain reaction through the cell, affecting every place it reaches. So if this free radical damage happens in the muscle cells in the liver and pancreas, damaging the glucose pumps, damaging the glucose doors, that causes diabetes. If this damage happens in our arteries, then in the innermost lining of the arteries called the endothelium, then the artery becomes stiff. It's like when you're watering a garden, you squeeze down the end of the pipe. What happens? The water shoots out like a jet, right? You're able to water the plants right at the end of the garden. That's because you have increased the water pressure inside the pipe just by squeezing the end. Like that, each time our heart pumps, the blood flows through our body, and at the end of every blood vessel, there's a small arteriole. If that contracts, and if all the arteries of the body become stiff and contract, it creates a back pressure on the heart, increasing the blood pressure. That's called high blood pressure, right? It is the endothelium's job to keep the arteries supple and elastic. Every time the heart pumps, the blood flows through, the arteries actually relax and contract again. But when that gets damaged, then they just stay contracted. The blood is trying to go in, but there's a lot of resistance to it. That increases blood pressure. When this damage happens in the arteries that supply our heart itself, it can form what's called as a plaque. Now, a plaque is, think of it like you get pimples and boils on the skin, right? Some pimples, they come, they just stay there for some time, they don't really do anything to you, and then they go away. But when a boil comes, it can quickly get filled with pus and it can burst and all the pus comes out, right? A similar thing happens inside the arteries of the body. The plaques that get formed due to this free radical damage, they can either stay as stable plaques, which are like the pimples. They just grow. They don't really do anything. They just stick around for a long time. And they are, usually not fatal. They're not very dangerous. These are the plaques that show up on an angiogram. If you ask your doctor, they'll be able to tell you about it. When they say 70%, 80%, 90% block, these are the plaques that they're talking about, the stable big ones, right? And the blood flows around them, no problem. The problem is the unstable plaques. They're really small, really tiny, but they can burst at any time. That's the problem. If they burst, the blood thinks that there is a cut here, the vessel has been broken, and it immediately clots to prevent bleeding, right? But it also blocks off the entire artery and all the tissue that it supplies to. For example, the biggest coronary artery that supplies your heart has a diameter of about 3 mm, 3 millimeters. That's it. It's really tiny. Imagine if a clot forms there, the artery gets blocked off, and a portion of the heart dies. That's called heart attack. If the same thing happens in the brain, it's called a stroke. In the arms and legs, it's gangrene. In the aorta, it's an aneurysm. All different parts of the body, the same disease. It is that free radical that got created when the glucose was burnt inside our cells. Now, the good news is that the body is extremely intelligent. It has a fire extinguisher on standby every time a glucose molecule gets burnt. And that fire extinguisher is called an antioxidant molecule. I'm sure you're all familiar with antioxidants as well. And this is what they do. An antioxidant neutralizes that free radical that gets formed and protects our body from that damage from the inside. Right? The problem is the food that most of us consume is very high in calories. It has a lot of fat, protein, carbohydrates, glucose, sugars, right? But it does not have enough antioxidants, which means every time we eat food, you can actually measure this, right? There is a test called flow-mediated dilation, the FMD test, where they clamp a blood pressure cuff on your arm, and then they put an ultrasound machine right in front of it. You eat food, within few minutes, within half an hour, you can actually detect whether your artery has become more elastic or more stiff, right? If you eat an unhealthy meal, and I'll tell you what an unhealthy meal is next, right? You eat an unhealthy meal, within half an hour, your arteries stiffen. You eat a healthy meal, within half an hour, they become even more elastic than before. What we need is elastic arteries, which supply blood freely to all parts of the body. What we need is freely opening glucose pumps, glucose doors that get the glucose into our cells and allow them to do their work. What we need is a well-functioning heart, well-functioning lungs in order to help prevent a severe COVID-19 infection. What we need is a well-functioning immune system stocked up with antioxidants so that it can, fight the virus well enough without attacking our own body, which can keep the inflammation in control without letting it go out of control. The solution to all of these is to feed our body with the right nutrients that it requires. Right? Now, the good news is that the root cause for all of these diseases, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, obesity, and all the related metabolic diseases is the same, an unhealthy diet and lifestyle. So let's do a quick activity with all of us together, right? And I'd like you to actually, do this for yourself and for your family. We're just going to list out all of the factors that increase our risk of developing these diseases and therefore of developing a severe COVID-19 infection. And I'd like you to check for yourself which of these are a positive factor for you, which of these are there in your life, which are increasing your risk right now. Number one is an unhealthy diet. When it comes to chronic disease risk, 80% of the cause of disease comes from the food that we eat. The remaining 20% comes from a lack of exercise and mental stress. So let's talk about the food. There are two types of food that increase your risk of chronic disease. Number one is animal foods, and number two is processed foods. So what I'm basically saying is, if you want to prevent or if you want to reverse, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, obesity, reduce your risk for catastrophic or a severe COVID-19 infection, what we need to do is to reduce our intake of disease-causing foods, such as animal foods and processed foods, including meat, fish, eggs, milk and milk products like your milk, curds, cheese, yogurt, paneer, butter, buttermilk, and ghee, as well as processed foods, which is not only packaged food, but also foods which you may be using in your kitchen right now, like oil, any kind of oil, even cold pressed oil, sugar, jaggery, and even honey, white rice, maida, as well as alcohol. Now, I know the question on your mind right now is probably what to eat. This is what I eat every day. All day. What is left? What else do I eat? I've practically listed out everything in my kitchen right now. To answer to what do I eat, we need to eat a diet that is rich in foods that help to boost our immunity, that help us reach our ideal weight, that reduce inflammation in the body, that protect our body from chronic disease, and give us all the nutrition we need in order to fight any infection well. And that's called a whole food, plant-based diet. Now, this may be a new term to some of you here, but let me translate it to an Indian language. Suddenly it makes so much more sense. Whole food is simply Sampurna Ahara, and a plant-based diet is Sasyahara or Shakahara. Now, these are terms that we've grown up with. These are terms that we know exactly what they mean, right? And that's exactly why it is so simple, so easy to achieve in our everyday lives. You don't, so when you think of going on a diet, the first thing people think of is, okay, I need to give up all my favorite foods. I need to eat only a bunch of salad, big plate of vegetables all day, every day. That's not true. You can actually eat anything and everything you enjoy eating as long as it's made using the right ingredients. Like, for example, let's say that you like eating bread and cheese, right? You can still eat all the bread and cheese you want. Just need to make sure that the bread is made with whole grains, doesn't have any oil or dairy, wheat bread instead of maida bread, and your cheese is made from plants and not from animals. For example, you can make cheese from potatoes, you can make cheese from cashew nuts, from almonds, from from peanuts, from sweet potato. So many different kinds of cheeses that you can make. You can eat all the halwas and paniyarams and murk and chakli and your chivdas and matris and burfis, laddus, and pretty much anything and everything you want to eat. And that, my friends, is the good news. You can eat your way to, you can totally enjoy every meal, every day that you eat, and still get a healthier, longer life ahead for you. So what I'd like to do is I would like to show you, a practical example of what exactly this involves. And I'm hoping that this will not get too many of you very hungry and make you leave the session, but feel free to grab a quick snack and get back to us. So I'm going to show you here is a tiffin box that we got from dinner from our kitchen, the Sampurna Ahara plant-based kitchen. This is one of the boxes that we have. We're a zero plastic kitchen, by the way. That's why we deliver all our food in steel boxes, the good old-fashioned way. We start every meal with a fruit starter. Now here you have mangoes and grapes. This is the Bangalore Blue version, the last remaining grape of the season, and delicious Alfonso mangoes from a nearby farm near Bangalore, which is from a farmer who has converted from organic to chemical, from chemical to organic farming with our support. We start every meal with a fruit starter. This is really, really important. A lot of us think that fruits are a snack, something that we have when we feel a little peckish in the evening. But in fact, fruits are the #1 food that are instinctively healthy for us. For example, think about this. You go to a forest, you go on a trek, perhaps, you get lost and you're trying to find some food in the forest. What would you look for? Look for a fruit, right? You're not going to look for a deer or a bunny or a root. You're not going to dig up a plant. You're going to look for nice red or yellow color hanging fruit from a tree. And our bodies are perfectly designed to pluck that fruit, eat it, and enjoy it. We can actually enjoy the sweetness of fruits, unlike animals like lions, which can't even taste sweetness. Human beings can. So we start every meal with fruit, just like the traditional Indian bale ele uta. Right? You go to a function, to a very orthodox function, they serve you a bale ele uta. The first item that's going to place on the plate is a peeled banana. It's a fruit. And later that got transformed into 1 spoon of paisa first, but this is the origin. You start your meal with a fruit starter. And for the second course, today we have a roasted raw banana palya, which is which is nice and roasted, but it doesn't have a single spoon of oil in it. Right? It's crisp on the outside, it's soft on the inside, it's perfectly spiced with your chilies and onions and coriander leaves, and we use miso paste instead of salt. It's one of the things that we do at Sampurna Ahara. There's a roasted jeera, and there is some roasted mustards and all of that, but not a drop of oil, and yet perfectly roasted. We do this by baking the dish and not by instead of frying it in oil. You can actually bake your palyas. They come out really well. Or you can even cook them with a small quantity of water. When we add oil to our food and cook it, it actually reduces the nutritional quality of food that we consume, because oil by itself is a processed food. So one of the things that we teach is oil-free cooking. We cook without oil. Everything that we do, we cook without oil at Sampurna Ahara. And we also teach oil-free cooking on our website, nutritionscience.in, in case any of you are interested in learning. And we have a chapati made with whole wheat. We have unpolished rice. Now this, interestingly, is the same variety of rice that you're all used to eating. This is Sona Masuri rice, but this is what it looks like before it gets polished and before the nutrition is removed from it. It's brown. It's a brown rice variety. and we have a a kalo dal. This is a Bengali preparation. It's a Bengali special side dish today, which is made from the whole urad dal and lots of tomatoes and onions and coriander leaves and garam masala mixed into it. To end the meal, we have a kesar badam burfi. That's right, we have a burfi and we have a laddu to end this meal. So this is a kesar badam burfi. This is made without sugar, without jaggery, without honey, without ghee, without oil. In case you're wondering what actually is this made of, it's made with almonds and dates and a little bit of saffron in it. That's it. 3 ingredients. So simple. So it's in fact deceptively easy to make at home as well. Try it out, right? Almonds, dates, and saffron. That's it. Grind it in the mixie and make it into a burfi. And my mouth is watering already. It's delicious. It's absolutely amazing. And the other sweet that we have is our flaxseed B12 laddu. We give this as a bonus with every single meal that we serve. I'll talk about why flax seeds and B12 is so important when I talk about the supplements. And so this is one of the meal types that we offer. This is called the gourmet meal, which comes with a restaurant style experience. And for the, oh, sorry, I almost forgot. The vegetable salad, which is the second dish that we serve in after the fruit starter. Today we have a Thai-inspired salad. So here you see that there's some cabbages and there is grated raw papaya, there's carrot, and it's all mixed with a sweet ginger dressing, which is again made from dates, not from jaggery or from honey or from sugar. And it has a peanut powder dressing with some chopped up coriander leaves and basil leaves. It smells amazing and it tastes fresh and crunchy and delicious as well. It is so easy to make. Everything you want, from salads to palyas to sambars to your rice. And what I'd really like to demonstrate, or I hope I've demonstrated, is you can eat practically everything you want as long as you use the right ingredients. Right? Let me show you another example. For a South Indian meal, right? We have the same fruit starter and we have the same vegetable salad. And then we have a carrot potato poriyal or a carrot potato palya, which is again cooked without oil. And we actually have ragi idli with drumstick leaves. Right? So this is made with soaked and roughly ground ragi. That's important. Roughly ground ragi helps to prevent the blood sugar spike rather than ragi flour. So this is made with roughly ground ragi. And it has drumstick leaves, it has urad dal, it has a bunch of spices like jeera and pepper as well. And we serve it with a pumpkin and greens sambar. So everything from idli sambar to bonda soup and Mysore bondas with chutney, anything and everything you can actually eat and enjoy as long as it's made with the right ingredients. Yeah. So not only your everyday food, but even your special meals, right? You say you have a birthday celebration, you have a family function at home. Even the food at those functions, right? Now during the lockdown and the pandemic, of course, you're not inviting people over. Let's say you want to celebrate with the 5 people at home. What do you make, right? The first thing off the top of most of our heads would be just to order a cake. But what really do you eat and enjoy during those times? You can make delicious snacks, delicious sweets, even cakes and breads, just using whole plant foods. For example, this here is a Verki puri. And this is a Rajasthani preparation, I believe. This is a colorful puri with the red, green, and yellow spirals, which is usually fried, but we bake it. It's nice and crunchy and tastes, it has a ajwain and jeera flavor and not a drop of oil. You can make this, we make a masala vada crackers, which tastes like the masala vada, but then they're baked to a crisp. And you can make, karanjis, you can make muruk, you can make chakli, you can make laddus like our flaxseed laddu here, all of them so easily right at home. Now, before we proceed further, let me tell you what is the most difficult part in all of this, right? This is probably something that you may never thought of. The most difficult part in adopting a healthy diet is simply deciding to do it. That's the biggest roadblock, let me try to, right? And I'm so grateful that there are so many of you here ready to listen and ready to make that change. That means you have already overcome that roadblock. You already made the decision, okay, let me start eating healthier. And that's it. The rest of the journey is going to be a lot easier, smoother for you. And yes, there are going to be a lot of obstacles. Like, suddenly one day you may realize, hey, I feel like eating a puri, but what do I do? How do I make it? Or your mother-in-law may say, no, you have to put ghee in this rasam, otherwise it's not rasam. Or you may want to go out to a restaurant and you don't know what to order. But those are all difficulties that can be overcome. Right? And think about this. Right? Just like anything else in life, which is difficult, like college and marriage, which are two very difficult things. But when you overcome them, it feels so amazing. Like when you finally succeed, just like that, when you finally succeed in getting your weight back to normal, when you succeed in getting sugar levels back to normal, your BP back to normal, your heart disease actually can be reversed through a whole food plant-based diet. When you succeed in doing that, you go back to your doctor and he tells you, hey, you don't have this problem anymore. Let's reduce your medications. That's when it's going to feel amazing and absolutely worth it. So I'd like to share a few stories from our Sampurna Ahara experience, and to share with you what are the possibilities that each one of you could enjoy if you adopted a healthier diet. And I'll also share with you how to get started with the entire journey. So there was I became a doctor years back and started treating people, started doing consultations. Unlike the regular medical consultation, which would last for about 15-20 minutes, I would take 3 to 4 hours just to do a single consultation. And you can imagine I could do only 2 or 3 a day, and that's it. There's no more time. I quickly realized that it's not going to create a big impact. So we started conducting workshops where we'd have a lot of people gather together and we teach everything that I'm teaching you now in much more detail through an entire day. We called it the Healing with Food Masterclass. And Smita and many others have been there and had a wonderful time discovering a healthy diet and lifestyle together. So eventually, once the COVID-19 pandemic hit, we took all our master classes, all our workshops, and we converted it to an online course on our website, nutritionscience.in. We called it the Plant-Based Diet Masterclass, where we teach everything that you need to know, from what to eat and what not to eat, to how to make this a part of your cooking, of your kitchen. How do you plan your cooking? How do you plan your grocery purchases? How do you plan your your actual cooking itself? What kind of vessels to cook in? How do you approach cooking raw dishes, cooked dishes? Are proteins, carbohydrates, and fats important? So many things that can simply not be covered during a half an hour talk. We cover during an 8-hour online course, which you can watch from the comfort of your home and adopt a healthier diet at home itself. We also have a free class called the 21-Day Plant-Based Kickstart, which anyone can join and get all of this information at no cost, because our goal is to help every family stay healthy. After conducting all of these workshops, people came back to me and asked, Doctor, look, all of this is fine, but can you also cook this food and deliver it to my home? So we said, all right. And we started sampurnahara.com, which is India's first whole food, plant-based social enterprise. I'm humbled to share that over the last year and a half, we've been able to prepare and home deliver more than 40,000 meals and products, and also donate over 20,000 plus meals and products in terms of cooked food and raw ingredients to the families affected the most by the COVID-19 pandemic. single mothers, elders who don't have their children to support them, members of the transgender community, and many other at-risk communities in Bangalore. We've been humbled to be able to support them by making sure that they have access to healthy food during this pandemic. So one of the stories that I'd like to share with you is an elderly lady who came to us during the first wave of COVID-19 last year. She called us and said, look, I've recovered from COVID-19, but I'm in the hospital and they're not letting me go home because my sugar levels have not come down. They just continue to stay sky high. So we sent her meals at the hospital. Within 5 days, she called us back and said, thank you so much. I'm back home. My sugar levels have completely normalized and I'm so happy. She and her daughter eventually went on to adopt a plant-based diet and start cooking healthier for themselves at home. We've had people who come to us and say, look, I want to reduce weight. I've tried everything there is, but nothing has worked. And then they start eating plant-based diets. They either order food from us or learn from us and cook at home. And within less than a week, they're able to see remarkable benefits. We've had people coming back and telling us, I've lost, it's 1 week of eating your meals and I've already lost 2 kgs. Within 1 month, I've already lost 3 to 4 kgs. We had people who have been able to reach their ideal weight in a matter of weeks to months. That's all it takes once you adopt a healthier diet. The best news is you don't have to go on a diet because you and I both know that's not going to work. You can, and the reason is because when you go on a diet, eventually you're going to go off the diet and all your problems are going to come back, right? But instead, if we focused our attention on learning and adopting a healthier lifestyle, then we can achieve permanent health through a permanently healthy lifestyle. And that is my mission in life. That's my mission to share with you the knowledge that I've gained. And I hope that it has benefited each one of you and that you have a wonderful take-home message today to keep yourselves and your families healthier. So summing up everything that we discussed, for those of you who want to write down points and write down notes and take this back home, here you go. These are the action points from today's talk. Number one, the COVID-19 disease is a crippling disease if you are unwell to begin. If you're healthy, your risk is extremely low of developing complications. Number two, how do you stay healthy to begin with? You eat a healthy diet, which means 2 things. The first is you eat food that comes from plants and not from animals, which means you avoid meat, fish, eggs, and dairy products, and you consume fruits, vegetables, dals, pulses, legumes, whole grains, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices, and even mushrooms. Although technically mushrooms are not plants, they're fungi, but if we had called you to attend a talk on plant and fungus-based diet, I doubt half of you would have turned up. But, mushrooms are healthy as well. Right. Number three is regular physical activity. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you do it on a daily basis. Number four is regular mental relaxation. 10% of our health quotient comes from mental relaxation. And number five is that there is no specific food or supplement or herb that has been proven to help prevent or treat COVID-19. Please keep this in mind, and until such scientific information becomes available, the best weapon that we have is to eat a completely healthy diet. Right? Think about it this way. You are walking around in your house. Somebody has scattered toys all over your house, and you decide that the best way to protect yourself is to, just take this one toy and keep it out of the way. Yes, you can do that. But then what about all the other toys? You're still going to trip and fall, right? What's the best thing you can do is to clean up the entire house. Yes, it may take some time. You'll need to figure out where to put the toys, but you spend that 5-10 minutes of time and you can be assured that you're not going to trip and fall anywhere. That's what a healthier diet and lifestyle is all about. It's not about eating that one herb or that one spice to give you a healthier life, but it's about every single thing you eat from morning to night, hopefully not too late night, bring it from a healthy diet, from a whole food plant-based diet. And number 6, the final thing I'd like to share with you is about supplements, which I said I'll cover. Now, there are vitamin C supplements, zinc supplements that have become popularized, but still we do not have the evidence yet that these are helpful, if at all. Instead, I recommend getting these nutrients from the food that you are consuming. Right? Vitamin C rich fruits, vitamin C rich vegetables, green leafy vegetables, citrus fruits, lots of nuts and seeds and whole grains for zinc, and you will get more than enough nutrition that you require. The 2 supplements that we do recommend, one is vitamin B12 and the other is vitamin D. Vitamin D is especially important because good vitamin D levels have been linked with a lower severity of COVID. So either 20 to 30 minutes of direct sunlight every day, or a vitamin D3 supplement of 2000 units every day for eaten after lunch. That's the general dose for most people in most age groups. So, the second one is vitamin B12, which is a vitamin which is not made by plants, not made by animals, but rather made by bacteria found in soil. So, unless you are living a completely natural lifestyle, living in the middle of the forest and drinking water from river streams, then you'll probably get your B12. But otherwise, if you're living in Bangalore, in a city, then we recommend taking a vitamin B12 supplement. And the dose that we recommend is cyanocobalamin, 70 micrograms a day for everyone up to age 65 and 1,000 micrograms a day for anyone age 65 plus. You can buy it online, or you can get in these flaxseed laddus that we make, which are enriched with the exact amount of B12 that you require. So you can check them out on sampurnahara.com or just Google cyanocobalamin and you should be able to get the supplement online. Right. Great. So it sums up what I'd like to share today. And I see that many of you have a lot of questions. I'll be happy to answer them and share anything else that I can to help this evening.
Wonderful. Wonderful, Dr. Achutan. I think very, very beautifully explained. I would really like to compliment the way you have explained, especially your example of the chewing gum for the lock and the toy. So some of these examples, they made it easy for us to appreciate and understand the simple anatomy of our body. So thank you so much. I think we have a lot of questions, as you rightly said. I'll just read them out one by one so that you can answer them or maybe combine them if you feel that is right. Mr. Sandeep Parvatikar is saying, Doctor, can you show uncooked rice? I want to see how it looks like. Can you please show that rice, whatever you showed, uncooked rice?
I think sure. Be happy to show it to you.
Okay.
So this is the rice before it gets polished. Basically, I can show you one variety, but basically you look at the raw rice. It should not be white. That's it. That's about it. Whether it's brown or red or black or purple, any other color is fine except for white, because white means it's been polished. The outer bran has been
removed. Right. Another question. Yeah. Another question from Rotarian Shankar Rao. He is attending this program from Canada. He says, action of foods and connection to pandemic is missing. Can that be explained in brief? And can he give recipes specifically to diabetes and weight reduction?
Sure, absolutely. So I would recommend going to our website, nutritionscience.in, which has over 200 different recipes. Now, I'd be happy to share them with you, but then you'd have to stay back for another hour. We put them all together and we put it up for free on our website, nutritionscience.in. Do check it out. Every single recipe there helps specifically to treat diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, obesity, which are the 4 major comorbidities that increase risk of severe COVID-19 infection, and also improve your immunity from the inside. Now, the reason these they treat all of these diseases altogether is 2 things, right? The first one is because the root cause of these diseases is the same thing, like I had explained earlier, that free radical damage that happens from inside the cell. Right? It's not an external thing that happens, but the damage that happens from inside. So the only way by which we can prevent that is to consume a lot, a majority of whole plant foods in our diet, brown rice instead of white rice, peanuts instead of peanut oil, dates instead of sugar, peanut curds instead of dairy curds. 100 different changes like this, all of which add up to give you 100% healthy diet in the end. So, that's the link to the pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic itself may just be a dress rehearsal for much more dangerous viruses that are going to be created in the future, especially because of animal farming industry practices all over the world today. So not only will we be able to reduce our risk of developing this disease, but we can also reduce the risk of creating future infections like COVID-19 by shifting to a plant-based diet. And I hope our recipes are able to help you achieve.
So true, so true. Thank you so much. And another question from Mr. Petra Schusler. What are the essential supplements for a vegan, please?
Sure. Not only for a vegan, but for anyone who eats any kind of diet, there are two nutrients that are not produced by plants. The first one is vitamin D, which is made by animals like ourselves. Right? So all we need to do is get 20 to 30 minutes of sun exposure on our face and arms every day. If you're in a country or a situation where you're unable to do this, then we recommend taking a supplement of vitamin D3, 2000 units, 2000 IU, that's international units, on a daily basis after the biggest meal of the day, usually after lunch. The second nutrient is vitamin B12, which is the form that we recommend is cyanocobalamin. That's the form that has been found to be both safe and effective for most people. It's the most widely researched form. We recommend 70 micrograms a day or 2000 micrograms once a week up to age 65. And above age 65, it's just one single option of 1000 micrograms every single day. Vitamin D3 you can get in almost all medical stores in India. Cyanocobalamin may be a little more difficult to find, so you can either get it online or you can take our flaxseed B12 laddus, which we created for this purpose to supplement vitamin B12.
There's another, I think most of the questions which are coming up are talking about how to improve the immunity during this COVID times. I think you have more or less covered that. And I would request attendees to go through the website that he has referred. How I think this question also you already covered, how to start switching to vegan diet and avoid milk and milk products, since milk is considered source of calcium and other nutrients, how to replace them?
Sure. So let me answer that specifically. Milk has calcium, milk has protein, but then think about this, right? Where did the milk get the calcium and protein from? Milk came from the cow. The cows don't drink milk. They eat grass, which is a green leafy vegetable. Green leafy vegetables have lots of calcium. Your dal, your rice has more than enough protein that you need. In fact, if you stop eating animal foods, including dairy, your calcium requirement actually goes down. Someone consuming milk every day needs about 1200 milligrams of calcium a day. You stop consuming milk and you consume only plant foods, you only need 600 milligrams to get enough calcium into your body, because your body absorbs it and retains it that much better. So, the simplest answer where to get your calcium and protein from, get it from the same place the cows got it, which is green leafy vegetables and whole plant foods.
Wonderful. I think that's a brilliant answer, I would say, for easy to understand for everyone, right?
Yes.
Okay. Somebody, Agrawal, is vegetable and fruit eating fine in the evening for people having cough on a regular basis?
Sure, absolutely. In fact, the vitamin C in some fruits may increase mucus production slightly, which is a good thing because you want the bacteria and virus that are trapped inside from whatever kind of respiratory infection. You want it to be chucked out of the body. And that's what mucus does. It takes all of it, it comes out and throws it out, right? But if you have breathing difficulties, if you're not able to breathe because of the mucus, then discuss with your doctor and take diet or medications accordingly. But if you are consuming a healthy enough diet from the beginning, then that breathing difficulty itself can be prevented. And that's where these herbs and spices come in. Researchers found that after you get an infection, how much ever turmeric you consume for that 1 week is not going to have any difference whatsoever on the outcome of that infection, on how well your body handles it. Right? It doesn't make any difference. But if you've been consuming a quarter spoon of turmeric for 1 year before you fall sick, then you have a much better chance of fighting the infection and recovering from it a lot quicker. So it's about what you are eating today, not what you eat after you fall sick, that actually makes a much bigger difference.
Great. We have a lot of questions. I'll just try to combine them or maybe give it to them. You can answer them briefly. We have less time. But one more thing, doctor, I was told that after 7 o'clock in the evening or after sunset, it is not really advisable to eat fruits. Is that not true?
So after 7 p.m., it is not advisable to eat.
Okay.
That's
not
it.
Fruits, anything, right?
Anything at all. Right? So sunset is our, it's our marker for
Right.
finishing the food of the day.
Okay.
After sunset, our body is not equipped to handle digestion.
Great. Why paneer and curds not to be taken? That is the question from President-elect Amar Randhar.
Great.
Specific
So
reason?
Sorry?
Is there any specific reason he's asking why paneer and curds should not be taken?
Sure, absolutely. So paneer and curds are both animal foods. They have zero fiber. They have animal protein. They have animal fat, both of which have been linked with harmful effects when we consume it inside the body. They increase inflammation. They, if someone has asthma, they can actually make it worse for the next few hours. If you have diabetes or hypertension, it can make it worse for the next few hours. Animal protein has been linked with a higher risk of kidney failure, of kidney damage, which is another very dangerous comorbidity to have, especially during this time. I have had known several people, even some of my patients, who have had kidney failure, gone to the hospital for dialysis, got COVID-19 because of that, and passed away. And so for so many different reasons, any animal foods, including dairy products, including paneer and curds, are not recommended. Instead, you could replace them with transition foods, which help you to shift to a healthier diet, like tofu, like peanut curds, almond curds, all of which you can make easily at home. And then eventually you won't have a craving for any of those.
But then curd is a source of probiotic. How do we get probiotic without curd? That's another question from Krupa.
Sure, great. So curds has good bacteria in it, right? What are good bacteria? They are the bacteria that help our body, that keep us healthy, right? So if you, so let me tell you a fun fact. Right? I hope none of you are eating your dinner now. You'll know why I'm saying that in a minute. Every time you poop, every time you pass stools, about half the weight of that stool is the food you ate the previous day. The other half is a thriving bacterial colony. Now, which kind of bacteria are there is all dependent on you. If you eat food that's high in fiber, then good bacteria thrive. If you eat food that's low in fiber and high in protein, especially in animal protein, bad bacteria thrive. So we all know fermentation, which gives a good smell, putrefaction, spoilage, which gives a bad smell, right? Fermentation is good bacteria, they eat fiber. Putrefaction is bad bacteria, they eat protein. This is a very basic understanding. If you eat high fiber foods and feed your own good gut microbes, they keep the bad bacteria at bay. They thrive, they release phytonutrients for your body to absorb. They actually manufacture chemicals like short chain fatty acids that keep you healthy, that improve your immunity. All you need to do is feed them high fiber foods, which are essentially whole plant foods. If you don't feed them high fiber foods, then they die off, and only then you need a probiotic, right? So, as long as you're eating a healthy diet, you do not need probiotics. What you need is prebiotics, the food that your own good gut microbes need to eat.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's a brilliant answer. I mean, I was personally not aware that there is also a reason why you can avoid probiotics completely. On dates, there are two questions. Can type 2 diabetic take dates? That's a question from our own Raja Raman, who has organized this program. And another question is, dates add weight. How far is it true?
Sure, great. Thank you, Mr. Raja Raman, for helping organize this program. I'm happy to answer your question. Dates are absolutely healthy, even for type 2 diabetics. Now, I'd like you to compare dates to say rice or chapatis, right? They have, similar contents of sugar, right? And would you say that chapatis have to be avoided, rice has to be avoided when you're diabetic? No, you eat it every day, right? Just like that, you can consume dates every single day. In fact, it's been shown that dates do not increase the blood sugar. What happens when when a person is diabetic is that the fat droplets that are accumulated in the muscles, the liver, and pancreas that prevent sugar from being absorbed. That's what causes diabetes. The more dates you eat, the high fiber content of the dates prevents the sugar from being absorbed rapidly. So it prevents a blood sugar spike. At the same time, it actually binds the cholesterol from your bile acids and it sends it out of the body. So your cholesterol levels actually reduce. The fat content inside these cells actually reduce and they help even reverse diabetes. So what I would recommend is when you add them to your diet, reduce the amount of processed grains like white rice or maida or anything that contains these foods.
Replace.
Anything with oil or
Replace that.
replace. Exactly.
Very good, very good.
That's it.
When you're talking about diabetes, I think this question could be more relevant. Whether ghee or oil, what is better, and how much is it recommended on a daily basis? Is there any specific measure that you may want to advise?
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
I know you said it's completely zero is better, but I don't think
so
that
it's out of my mouth. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'll answer with another question. I had this, one of my colleagues told me this, and that completely changed my perspective on what nutrition advice to give, right? If the widow and children and orphans of someone who has passed away from a heart attack came to you and asked, doctor, why did you say we could give 1 spoon of oil every day when you know it's harmful? My husband has died, my father has died because of it. What would be your answer? Right? And then I realized that, oh my God, people are ready to eat healthy. They just don't think that they can do it.
Wow.
Right? We don't think we can because we've never done it before. It's something new. That's it. Right? So the answer to that question is exactly 0 spoons of ghee and 0 spoons of oil. Go for oil-free cooking. Yes, it's new. It's going to be different. But how are you going to know unless you try it out first, right? Out of the hundreds of people who are watching this program, I'm confident that a majority of you are ready to change your diets if it means that you're going to live a longer, healthier life. All you need to do is give it a shot and try it out. It's much, much easier than you're imagining. Let me tell you that. Right? So
I'm sure you're
go to our website.
Yeah. I'm sure your
try
advice.
out some recipe from the
Yeah, your advice is going to be taken up very, very genuinely by everyone. Before we close, I think just
Wonderful.
2 questions on the kids. Below 2 years, kids, how to ensure their immunity and vitamins. And also another question related is that for kids around 1, how to get them zinc and other food.
Great, lovely questions. So apart from what we've already discussed, which is put your children on a whole food plant-based diet, researchers found that not only are their immunity better, they actually grow 2 inches taller if you feed them healthy food, right? The bigger question that's hiding behind this is, how do I make my child eat those foods? And I'll answer that for you. The first and foremost thing is to remember that children like making their own decisions. And they will do that if they're interested in what they're doing. For example, you're attending this program because you are interested in it, not because someone forced you to do it, right? Because of your own interest, you've come, you've learned something, you're going to go back home and implement something from what you learned here. The same way, get your children interested in it. The best way to do it is to actually involve them in cooking. So get some recipes, get some whole food plant-based recipes, and sit with your children and say, hey, shall we cook this today? And actually get them to cook it. Then they're going to eat it, not because you're giving it to them, but because they cooked it themselves. And for younger children, they're surprisingly open to new flavors if they're introduced to it early. So for example, if you don't feed your child, say any green leafy vegetables until they're 2 years old, after that, they're probably not going to like it much. But if if mothers have eaten green leafy vegetables and a wide variety of fruits and vegetables during pregnancy, children actually enjoy it a lot more when they start weaning. Of course, up to 6 months, it's only mother's milk. But after that, when you start weaning, they enjoy the taste of whole natural foods a whole lot better. So start introducing it to them, nuts and seeds, whole grains and not polished grains, dals and pulses. You can grind up your nuts, make it into peanut butter, almond butter. You can do it at home, or you can buy it from us at sampurnahara.com, whatever is convenient for you. But make sure that you are not putting oil or ghee in the food. Instead, you're giving whole nuts, nut butters. You're giving whole grains like red rice, brown rice, black rice, whole wheat instead of white rice and maida. To cooking the food without oil, and that will take care of your child's immunity.
Wonderful. I think we have run out of time now. I have put the, I think Smita has put the email address of yours as well. There are Rotarians and friends of Rotary who may reach out to you, Dr. Achyutan. Request you
Absolutely.
to help us and help everyone to get out of this severe crisis. You have given a wonderful remedy for that. Prevention is better than cure, right? So thank you so much on that. Rajaram, can we move forward? Yeah, so we have our chief guest, Rotarian Dr. Rupa Haryani today, who's going to give away the Vocational Excellence Award. Our member, our literacy chair, Pavan Kumar Akkaraju, I'll request him to introduce Dr. Rupa Haryani.
Yeah, thank you, Manoj. And thank you, Dr. Achyutan, for very enlightening speech. For most of us, actually, our lives changed a lot because of COVID. Our bedrooms became office rooms and living rooms became playgrounds and whatnot. One thing probably that didn't change is a kitchen. It was the same kitchen before and after COVID. But, with your enlightened speech, now we look for small changes in kitchen that will mean a lot for our family, health and well-being. Thank you. And with that, I'll move on to introduce chief guest of our event today, Dr. Rupa Haryani. She is well-known in the Rotary circles. Anybody connected to 3190 probably already need no introduction of her, but I'll do my part. So Dr. Rupa Haryani is a dental surgeon and has been practicing dentistry for past 24 years at Dazzle, a multi-speciality dental clinic. And she's also very active in the social service circles, where she has served as president for the Innervale Club of Bangalore Southwest, where she has actually started a level 2 NICU neonatal intensive care at PD Hinduja and Sindhi Hospital, where underprivileged premature infants are treated with minimal charges. And also in the year 2019-20, she was the first lady of Rotary International District 3190. And another interesting perspective of her is also she holds a master diploma in corporate training and is a motivational speaker and also a behavioral specialist. She is a lead faculty in the Indian Academy of Training and Development and also a lead trainer at TSNT Training Academy. And she's also a certified POSH, which is like prevention of sexual harassment to women workplace trainer. And she created awareness about this law in various organizations. And she also holds, she's one of the top 5 finalists in Supermom contest. And also she is a proud holder of Guinness Record certificate in the category of most people to sign up and donate blood in 8 hours. And it's our privilege to have you, ma'am, as our chief guest today. And thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Rotarian Pavan. Very sweet of you to remember all the details and read it out to the audience. Thank you so much for that. Well, on that note, President Manoj Kabre, all the members of Rotary Bangalore Whitefield Central, the district officers, past district governors present over here, all the other dignitaries and delegates on this virtual platform, and of course, our wow speaker of today, Dr. Achyutan Ishwar. A very good evening to all of you. At the outset, I would like to place on record my heartfelt thanks to our Manoj ji, because he extended invitation for this wonderful session. And Manoj ji, let me tell you, I'm so glad I attended this session. And definitely a word of mention, a word of special thanks to our Dr. P.M. Radhakrishna, sir. You actually suggested my name apparently. So thank you so much for pulling me into this session. In fact, it was really heartening for me to know from Manoj ji that there is this speaker series called as Gnana Vaividya. What a fantabulous, if such a word exists, what a fabulous initiative, and what a wonderful way of expanding your horizons of knowledge and spreading your wings. In fact, as I was discussing with Manoj ji, recently I got a call from one of my acquaintances. He is someone who's undergone several surgeries for cleft lip and cleft palate, but now he aspires to be a motivational speaker. He wants to motivate people through his life's journey. And when he asked me, Madam, can you get me a gateway to address an audience? The first name that came to my brain was, of course, the name of our Manoj ji, and he has been so sweet and he has obliged to my request, and he said he'll find out a way for that particular request of mine. So thank you so much, President sir. In fact, today's session prompts me to quote one of the most famous statements from our great motivational speaker and author, that is Alvin Toffler. And he has said that the illiterate of the 21st century are not those who cannot read and write, but those who refuse to learn, unlearn, and relearn. What a fantastic thought process, isn't it? That seems to be the very core idea, very core message behind this entire Gnana Vaividya sessions. Now, friends, we always learn throughout our lives, isn't it? We learn some things very fast, we learn some things a little slow. Some things we learn with a lot of love and passion. Some things we learn with a lot of hesitation, especially during the lockdown session. Our menfolk, very sweet menfolk, they learned how to cook. They learned how to wash vessels, how to wash clothes even. Well, but they learned, isn't it? That was just in a lighter way. But of course, we learn a lot of things in our lives. But sometimes there will come a situation where we need to unlearn and relearn new concepts all over again. Now, that is very essential. When I say unlearn, it doesn't mean that completely letting go of what we have learned so far. But yes, letting go to a great extent if we want to progress in our lives, if we want to adapt to the new changes in our lives. It means to say that we need to challenge our own ancient thinking, and we witnessed that in today's session. We need to deconstruct our traditional ways of reactions and actions. Now, we always say, isn't it, when you need to get rid of or you need to chip out the old coat of paint in order to apply a new coat of paint, isn't it? And if you want to grow a fresh crop of plants, you need to clear out the old vegetation present there. Same analogy. This is the foundation of constant learning. Now, we learned communications from our childhood. We learned how to talk to people. We learned how to behave with people. We learned how to address an audience over a stage. And bam, things changed. The entire world changed. We unlearned. We unlearned whatever we had learned so far, and we relearned. Now we are actually communicating through a machine. We are speaking with each other using artificial intelligence. That is the crux and the nutshell of constant learning. On that note, what I would like to say is this session from Dr. Achyutan Eswar, sir, I have really unlearned and learned a lot of new things today. My God, yours was a really wow session. Wow, really in terms of wow, as well as words of wisdom. I mean, I really learned something new today. Cheese made from potato and sweet potato. I honestly hadn't heard about that. Now, I was always sticking to the old adage, like, eat breakfast like a king, maybe lunch like a prince, and dinner like a beggar. And then when it didn't work for me in my late 30s and early 40s, I changed to intermittent fasting. And that also seems to be having problem with me right now. But then the way you said, eat fruits with every meal, that changed. That's a complete different paradigm of thinking for me, because I had learned that do not mix fruits with lunch because it releases those kinds of acid, etc. But your revolutionary thoughts really, has set me thinking. And one thing I've learned, Dr. Achyutan, is that please eat like a cow. Don't eat things that come from a cow, but eat like a cow. That's a fantastic thought process from you. Thank you so much. And the way you explained everything, doctor, it came straight from your heart. I can make out that you're such a simple person and you have a simplistic way of living in yourself. And I'm so glad that your Sampurna Ahar is doing so well. Kudos to you, salutations to you, and really, really wishing you all the very best in your future endeavors. On that note, our President Sir has given me a very, very pleasant task of virtually handing over a small token of appreciation, a token of gratitude for all the wonderful talks that you have given today. So let it be my pleasure in just reading it for all of you over here. Rotary District 3190 and Rotary Bangalore Whitefield Central jointly bestow Rotary Vocational Excellence Award to Dr. Achyutan Ishwar, lifestyle physician and co-founder nutritionscience.in, in recognition of excellence achieved in his chosen field of vocation and contributing to the good of the society. For Gnana Vaividya second edition Vocational Diversity Speaker Series, presented by Dr. Rupa Haryani, First Lady 2019-20, Rotary International District 3190 on 26th May 2021. Duly signed by Rotarian Dr. P.M. Radhakrishna, District Vocational Service Director, Rotarian Raja Raman V, Vocational Service Director, RBWC, Rotarian Mayank Agarwal, Secretary, RBWC, and Rotarian Manoj Kabre sir, President, RBWC. So thank you so much, Doctor, for this. I hope you really liked this token of appreciation given from Rotary Bangalore Whitefield Central. Thank you so much,
Dr. Rupa, and thank you so much the entire Rotary team for having me here, and thank you, Smita, for inviting me, and all of you for arranging this. Really hope that I was able to share something from our journey that has helped so many of my patients and my loved ones that hopefully are going to help you as well. Thanks again.
Thank you, Dr. Rupa. I think that was a brilliant expression, and thank you so much for all the compliments. It really motivates us. I think we just had a 5-minute or 6-minute talk from you. I have found a new speaker in you whom we can invite on Gnana Vaividya.
Thank you so much.
You have to just choose a subject because you are expert in so many things. I don't know what subject we can give you for Gnana Vaividya.
So thank you so much. So actually, there is another pleasant task which IPDG has given me responsibility on that.
Yeah, I think you are the co-host. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so there is a screen sharing here. Yeah, I'll have to take that off. Yeah, okay. Manojji, this is specially for you from IPDG and from myself, and it reads, Rotary opens opportunities as well as Rotary connects the world. Certificate of appreciation presented to Skyrocker President Manoj Kabre for his dazzling work in vocational diversity by facilitating the speaker series Gnana Vaividya. Duly signed, Rotarian Dr. Samir Haryani, District Governor 2019-20, and Dr. Rupa Haryani, District First Lady 2019 and 20. Please do accept this, and this will
I'm
be.
really humbled. I'm humbled. I'm so humbled. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. This will be framed and it will be couriered to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So nice of you. Please convey my thanks to Dr. Samir as well.
Definitely.
Okay, so that brings us to the end, and I think Rajaram, we can have a formal vote of thanks by our Vocational Service Director, Rajaram.
Yeah, thank you, Manoj. Actually, today we had an excellent talk on our food. Basically, everything, whatever we learn and then whatever we do are superficial. But food is the only one which we take inside in our body. And then today the talk really enlightened us on what to eat, what not to eat. That is also very important for us. Thank you, Dr. Achyutan Ishwar, for giving us an excellent talk on today. Talk about healthier diets in pandemic time. I feel it is not just pandemic time, and always it is required for us. And I would like to thank our District Governor, Rotarian Nagendra Prasad, and then District Vocational Service Director, Dr. Radhakrishna, and District Vocational team, and our beloved President, Rotarian Manoj Kabre, and the entire RBWC team, and Rotarian Smita Kulkarni, and then Rotarian Pavan Kumar Akkaraju for introducing the speaker, chief guests, and also today's guest clubs, Bangalore, Rotary Bangalore, Basavangudi, Rotary Bangalore Reach Out, Rotary Amritsar Fitness, Rotary Bangalore Downtown, Rotary Bangalore RMB Central, Rotary Bangalore Udyog, Rotary Bangalore HSR, Rotary Bangalore Uttarahalli, Rotary Kundapura South, Rotary Bangalore Elanka for participating in today's event. And also I would like to thank our PDGs, Samir Hirani and Rajendra Rai and PDG Suresh for participating today. And also finally, like Dr. Rupa Hirani for presenting the Vocational Service Excellence Award to the speaker, and also appreciation certificate for our President, Rotarian Manoj Kabre. I would like to thank all the people who joined today, all the Rotarians and Rotary friends of Rotary to make this program very success. As usual, the next week we have the we are organized the next week, Wednesday 6:30, June 2nd on green periods, and also June 9 we have a session on natural cleaners. I would request everybody to attend this session, and then there is, as usual, make this as a grand success. Thank you all.
Thank you very much once again. Thank you everyone for attending, and please do subscribe to our YouTube channel called Jnana Vaidya. Thank you. Thank you, Rajaram. Great
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.